Hello dear students, welcome back once again to Kamala Online Learning. We are back again with another informative video lesson from your schedule. Please be completely attentive during the teaching. Keep your textbook and also a rough book with you. Note down important points and difficult or new words as we go. This video lesson will begin with an overview which will give you an idea about the contents of the lesson. It will be followed by learning objectives. Please note down the learning objectives in your notes and try to answer them at the end of the session. If you have any doubts, rewatch the video and refer to your textbook and study material. In case you need further clarification, please mail your doubts to kamalaonlinelearning@gmail.com. This video is recorded with simple, easy to understand language and eye-catching graphics. We hope it helps you to understand the concepts better. So, let's get started.
Now let us study about the microorganisms and soil fertility. The air around us consists of 78% of nitrogen gas. It is required for the plants to synthesize the proteins. But plants are not capable of taking in nitrogen directly from the atmosphere. Nitrogen being an essential element to the plants, microorganisms such as Rhizobium, Nostoc, Anabaena, Azotobacter, etc. fix the nitrogen from atmosphere and form certain compounds. These microorganisms release them into the soil and plants take the nitrogen indirectly from these compounds. The fungi and bacteria which are present in the soil help in degrading organic remains of animals and plants into smaller substances that are essential for plants. Bacillus thuringiensis Bt is a bacterium that produces a toxic agent which is capable of killing pests present on plants or crops. This is used as a biopesticide. The toxin-producing gene was separated from the bacterium and was transferred into plant crops to get rid of pests in transgenic crop plants. Example, Bt cotton. Let us study the action of microorganisms by performing an activity. Take 2 pots. Fill both the pots with loose soil up to half. Put dried leaves, vegetable wastes, fruit peels and other organic wastes in one pot. Now put plastic wastes, polythene bags, empty glass bottles, etc. in the other pot. Once again, cover the pots with soil. Sprinkle water on the pots daily. It is observed that pot with organic waste got decomposed, whereas the pot with plastic and inorganic wastes have not decomposed in the soil. From the activity, we learn that organic or biodegradable wastes can be decomposed into simple substances by the microorganisms present in the soil, air and water. Moreover, inorganic or non-biodegradable wastes like metal tins, glass, polythene, etc. cannot be degraded or decomposed by the microorganisms. Organic wastes can be cleaned up by the microorganisms but not the inorganic ones. This we can watch in our surroundings also. So, we need to analyze carefully the ways in which we discard our wastes. Some microorganisms like bacteria help in the process of sewage treatment and oil slick formed in the oceans. Oil slick is formed because of leakage of oil from oil tankers, ships,
This oil slick makes the shortage of oxygen and light in the ocean. This kills the aquatic marine animals. In order to protect the aquatic marine animals from oil slick, oil-eating bacteria are introduced into the ocean.
Let us study about the harmful microorganisms. Some microorganisms are useful and some are harmful. Harmful microorganisms cause diseases to crop plants, livestock, and human beings. Moreover, food, clothes, and many other things also get spoiled by the microorganisms. Disease-causing microorganisms are called pathogens, and the study of diseases is called pathology. Pathogens may enter our body through the air we breathe, water we drink, food we eat. These can also enter into our body either by direct contact with the infected person or through animals or insects. You must have observed that when a person is infected with cold due to the changes in weather, there are numerous possibilities that the others who are around him or her also get infected. When that infected person coughs or sneezes, pathogens enter the air around him or her, and eventually another person who breathes that air gets. Such diseases, which spread from one person to other person, are called communicable diseases. Example: common cold, swine flu, chicken pox, tuberculosis, etc. Some insects and animals also carry these microorganisms which cause diseases. These are called vectors. Malaria is caused by a vector or microorganism called Plasmodium. This Plasmodium is carried from one infected person to another one by a female Anopheles mosquito. Dr. Ronald Ross discovered that the female Anopheles mosquito carries the microorganism or parasite which causes malaria. For his discovery, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in the year 1902. Mosquitoes not only spread malaria, they also act as vectors to plenty of other diseases. Therefore, it is very important for us to control the growth of mosquitoes and simultaneously prevent the diseases caused by them. Mosquitoes breed more in rainy seasons or during monsoons, since stagnant water is most suitable for them. Therefore, we need to avoid water stagnancy in ditches, pots, roadsides, etc. We need to keep our surroundings clean and need to avoid the growth of mosquitoes. Houseflies also carry the disease-causing microorganisms and spread the diseases like typhoid, cholera, etc. Houseflies are regarded as public enemy number 1. If they sit on the excreta of an infected person or on garbage, then the pathogens get stuck to their bodies. If those houseflies sit on the uncovered food, they transfer these pathogens into the food. Thus, ultimately, the person who is going to eat may be infected with the diseases. Therefore, it is important for all of us to be extra cautious while covering the eatables and other things that we consume. The table on the screen gives information about some common diseases caused by microorganisms.
Diseases like anthrax in cattle and humans, viral diseases in prawns, foulpox, bird flu in poultry, rabies in dogs are caused by the action of microorganisms. Microorganisms also cause diseases in crops.
The table on the screen gives information about some diseases caused by microorganisms in crop plants. Now, let us study about food poisoning. Most of us must have heard of the term food poisoning many times in our life. What does it mean? Well, It means that microorganisms have grown on the food, making it toxicated or poisonous. If someone consumes this spoiled food, they can be prone to vomiting, diarrhea, or sometimes death too. Cooked food spoils quickly when compared to raw food. Clostridium botulinum is the most common bacteria, which is responsible for causing food poisoning. This disease is known as botulism. Let us study how to preserve food. Microbial growth on food makes it poisonous. The smell and taste of spoiled food is very bad. Water is the major cause for the spoilage of food, which helps microorganisms to grow. So, to protect our food and to prevent the microorganisms from entering into the food, we need to preserve our food. Fish and vegetable slices are preserved by adding salt and drying them in the sunlight. Pickles are stored with the addition of oil and salt. There is another method called heat and cold method for preservation of food. Heating, for example, boiling milk helps in killing different types of microorganisms present in milk. In our home, we preserve different types of food items, fruits and vegetables, jams, etc. in a refrigerator, because a refrigerator helps in preventing the growth of microorganisms. Microorganisms do not grow in cool conditions. Now, let us study the process of pasteurization. Pasteurization is another process for preserving milk. Mostly, this word is seen on milk packets. In this process, milk is heated up to 70 degrees centigrade and the temperature is suddenly brought down after 15 to 30 seconds. After chilling, the milk is stored in packets and in bottles. By this process, most of the microorganisms which are present in milk are killed. This process is called pasteurization and was invented by a French scientist named Louis Pasteur. Now let us know the invention of pasteurization. Louis Pasteur was born in France in the year 1822. He was a painter. His aim was to become a teacher. He was interested in mathematics, chemistry, physics, and he became a researcher. While he was doing research on crystals, he heard that the wine industry in France was facing an intense problem with the spoilage of stored wine. In such a scenario, Pasteur found that the reason for this spoilage was the growth of microorganisms, and therefore he found out the method of pasteurization. He proposed the germ theory of diseases, that is, the microorganisms causes diseases. He also invented a vaccine for rabies, anthrax, and also saved the silk industries in France and Germany by controlling microorganisms which were affecting silk moths. He also studied several other conditions of diseases in humans and animals and also demonstrated the measures to control them. In the year 1768, Lazzaro Spallanzani proved that microorganisms can be killed by boiling. Pasteurization has also given rise to another process called sterilization, which completely destroys microorganisms. In sterilization process, the required medical instruments are kept in a cabin under high temperature for about 30 minutes to ensure that there are no harmful microorganisms present on the instruments while conducting various surgeries. This process helps in avoiding or transferring the infection from person to person during surgeries. Nowadays, every food item is sold in sealed and airtight packets. This ensures complete avoidance of microorganisms entering from outside. Proper preservation of food helps us in a number of ways. They include: it prevents spoilage of food, It can also be preserved for a longer time in the best qualitative condition. Variety of food items may be available in faraway places in any season. Collect root nodules of leguminous or plants that produce pulses. Take a root nodule and crush it. Now take a small piece and place it on a permanent slide. Add a drop of water on the slide and cover it with a cover slip. Now place the slide under the microscope and observe it. A certain kind of bacteria are observed. The bacteria that are found in the roots of leguminous plant help in nitrogen fixation. We have already learned that bacteria like Rhizobium, Nactose, etc. are found in the roots of leguminous plants like peas and beans. The bacterium Rhizobium absorbs nitrogen from atmosphere and fixes itself onto the roots of the plants. The plant in turn shelters these bacteria in it and helps in their growth. This kind of mutual relationship is called symbiosis. Growing pulse crops help in increasing the soil fertility.
Keywords. List of keywords are shown on the screen. Summary. Let us recap the highlights of this chapter.
Some microorganisms are helpful to us and some are harmful. The bacteria that helps in milk curdling is called lactobacillus. Yeast also helps in food manufacturing units through the process of fermentation. Microorganisms are also used in increasing the fertility of soil. Medically, microorganisms are greatly involved in the preparation of vaccines. Penicillin vaccine was invented by Louis Pasteur. He also invented the vaccine to prevent rabies. The mucor that was involved in the invention of Pasteur was named as Penicillium notatum. Smallpox vaccine was invented by Edward Jenner. The Salk vaccine for polio was invented by John Salk. Antibodies defend us from foreign and harmful germs are microorganisms. Microorganisms help us in cleaning our surroundings by degrading the organic wastes that is generated. There are harmful diseases causing microorganisms. The animals that carry diseases causing germs are called vectors. Female Anopheles mosquito causes malaria. Houseflies are also capable of causing and spreading many dreadful diseases. Hence, we ought to keep our surroundings neat and clean from time to time to avoid diseases and their spread. Harmful microorganisms also cause various kinds of diseases in plants as well as in other animals. When a person eats food which is already infected with microorganisms, it leads to food poisoning. We ought to preserve our food from microorganisms by using methods like pasteurization, hot and cold methods, sterilization, etc.
By taking the mock unit test.
You have successfully completed the chapter Story of Microorganisms Part 2.